Welcome to Amy Learns to Cook. I'm Eric, and on today's show, I'm going to make some homemade meatballs and tangy barbecue sauce. Now, this is really great for parties such as New Year's or tailgate parties, and they're really simple to make, and they have a lot of good flavor in them. So why don't you join me as I make my homemade meatballs with tangy, tasty barbecue sauce. So we're going to cook the barbecue sauce first, and then while that's cooking, we'll go ahead and we'll get the meatballs going. So we've already got all the ingredients all measured out and stuff. So let's get started. First of all, I've got a heavy saucepan at medium, and I'm going to go ahead and add my liquids first. So I'm actually going to put my coffee in first. I have a cup of strong coffee. I don't know about you, but I use a Keurig and it doesn't really produce strong coffee. So just for this recipe, I actually did a couple of espresso size just to get it extra concentrated. If you're using a bold coffee or some other way of brewing coffee, then great. But my coffee was kind of weak, so this helped make it strong. So got that in there, 1 cup of strong coffee. Got 1 cup of ketchup, give that a little bit of a stir there. Have 2 tablespoons of vinegar. In this case, I'm using apple cider vinegar. I have 2 tablespoons of Worcester sauce. Put that in there. And then I've got 1.25 cups of light brown sugar. And then on the dry ingredients, I combine these. I have 1 teaspoon of white table salt and 1/8 teaspoon of black pepper. Put it in there. I have 1 tablespoon of dry mustard powder. And then last but not least, and this is about 1 small medium onion, but it's 1/2 cup of finely chopped onion. And this is just a Spanish onion. And what we're going to do with this is get it all nice and stirred up. We're going to cook it for about 10 minutes on about a medium heat. Maybe I can go a little higher. We don't want to burn it or anything. And then after about 10 minutes, we'll go ahead and reduce it temperature. And we'll cook at a simmer for about 30 minutes. So while the barbecue sauce is doing its job, we're going to go ahead and get the meatball material going. So adding this to my KitchenAid mixer here, we're going to put in 1 pound of ground beef. In this case, this is lean. This is like 93% fat-free, whatever. I'm just putting that in there. I have 2 egg yolks there. Been sitting in the fridge for a few minutes. Have 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil. Half a teaspoon of oregano. 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. I have 2 tablespoons of stuffed olives. So these are the Spanish olives, the green ones, and they have like pimento in them. So you just buy a little jar of them. I think I got like a 5-ounce jar, so I got plenty, right? And you just chop them up on a chopping board. You can get them sliced, but you still got to chop them after that. So I got the whole ones. Chop them up and then throw them in there. So that's 2 tablespoons worth of that. This is 2 tablespoons of fresh, finely chopped parsley. I don't know how fine it is, but it's my version. Have a half of cup of Parmesan cheese. It's the stuff in the refrigerated section, not the stuff that comes in the the green cardboard container. We got 3/4 of a teaspoon of garlic salt. Putting in 1/3 of a cup of plain breadcrumbs. And I do got a correction. Earlier I said a half a cup of Parmesan cheese. Actually, it's only 1/3 of a cup. So now we're going to use the KitchenAid mixer. We're going to lock this in place, this tilt head. And we're going to put this on like a 2, I think. And we just want to get that incorporated in there. And that's looking pretty good. So go ahead and do that. All right, now that this is all mixed together, we're going to go ahead and make some meatballs. Okay, we've cooked the barbecue sauce for 10 minutes, so we've reduced that down to a simmer, and we're going to cook it for 30 minutes until it reduces into a nice thick goodness, right? In the meantime, we're going to start making our meatballs. The goal here is if you can make 1-inch balls, you can get somewhere between 20 and 30 out of this pound of meat and breadcrumbs and stuff. So I don't have a small ice cream scooper like a lot of people probably have. Those would be perfect. Mine's like way too big. Mine would probably make like 2-inch balls. So I'm just using a tablespoon as kind of a rough guide. And we'll just go ahead and roll these out here. You can see how the parsley gives this nice color. Okay, so now the barbecue sauce actually looks like it's cooked down to desired thickness. So we took it off the burner. We're going to let it cool a little bit. And the beautiful thing about this recipe is you can cook this in advance of a party and then reheat everything up as needed. Or with the sauce, do the sauce a day or two in advance, let it refrigerate, let all the flavors commingle and be happy because everything tastes better second day, right? And then do the meatballs just before you need to have them done. And then warm up the barbecue sauce and put it back on. But what we're doing here, which is to save time, is we cooked it all at the same time and we're going to let it cool down a little bit and then we'll get it on these guys. So first thing we're going to do is we've got a skillet here, nice and warmed up. I'm going to put in some vegetable oil here, just enough to kind of get the bottom coated there. It's about 1.5 tablespoons because this is a large pan. Okay, so now we've got the pan is warm, the oil, we let it kind of sit in there for about a minute or so. And I got about 28 of these meatballs. So the goal was somewhere between 20 and 30. So a few of them are smaller than others. The goal here is we're going to go ahead and fry these bad boys up until they're well browned. So the first batch are done. We'll go ahead and get the second. And we're just letting them rest on some paper towels to soak up some of this grease. And I'm cooking this at kind of a medium, I don't know, somewhere in like the 400 degree area. And, you know, we just cook these things until they brown on all sides because you want to, you know, cook them through, but you also don't want to burn them either. Take these last guys out, put them on here, let them drain. And then we're going to be ready for a sample here pretty soon, aren't we? All right, we're almost done with this, which means it's almost time to eat some, right? So what we did here was we got the sauce into this little bowl here, and you can see how beautiful it's tasting, right? Just by looking at that. And then we just dip this using toothpicks. It's quite easy. You can pour this into like a crock pot, and if that's how you intend on taking it to your party, or if you're having it at your house, you can still use a crock pot or a chafing dish. You just have to do something to keep the food warm. But you can put these into a crock pot and then have all your toothpicks, and then, you know, that's a great way to keep things warm. So this is an easy way. We're just dipping them in here, right? This made somewhere around 2 cups of barbecue sauce, which is more than enough to coat almost 30 of these meatballs. It's probably enough barely to submerge them if your goal is to just travel and have them all submerged. It's barely enough. But if you're going to make 40 or more meatballs, then this is a good barbecue sauce amount. Now let's take a taste. The barbecue sauce, obviously, it tastes sweet because of all the brown sugar in there. And it does have tang from the vinegar, but it's not an overwhelming tang. It's kind of like Texas or Kansas City type barbecue sauce, which is more commonly what we see in the stores. The meatball has enough spice on its own with the onion it has, the oregano, that still gets through the taste of the barbecue sauce. So when you eat it and you chew it, you might get the barbecue sauce immediately, but then as you chew it, you then get all the flavors from the meatball. So it's not like the sauce is masking it at all. So I think it's a really good combination of the flavors, when you bite it. They don't hit you at the same time, but they are just a little offset by at least a few seconds. So I think it's really interesting that you get these different layers of flavors in there. So as far as I'm concerned, I definitely give this a thumbs up. This was really easy to cook. You just need a little bit of time to get the stuff prepped, get the barbecue sauce going, get the meat going, and then put it together or do it ahead of time. Any way you want to do it, it's very flexible. So I think anybody at a party would really love these. I certainly would. If you like this recipe, please subscribe below and give us a thumbs up and a like. And also take a look at our website, amylearnstocook.com. We're also on Pinterest and Twitter at Amy Learns to Cook.